Good morning, students. Today we will revise the syllabus portion of periodic test second, and today we will revise English reader book chapter 4 and 5 because this is the part of periodic test second. So first of all we will revise chapter 4, Bipin Chowdhury's lapse of memory. Students, as you know that Bipin Chowdhury was a middle-aged person who lived alone. He had very few friends and he did not like spending time in gossips. He used to read crime books, ghost story books and exciting story books, and he lived alone. He used to go to Kalichand's bookshop on every Monday to purchase books. One day, when he was buying books, he felt that somebody was looking at him. He asked the man if he knew him. The man became surprised and said that they met every day for a whole week when he was in Ranchi in 1958. The stranger also told his name, that he was Parimal Ghosh, and he had arranged a car for him to Hudru Falls. Bipin Chowdhury thought that the man had been mistaken as he had never gone to Ranchi. Parimal Ghosh told Bipin Babu's name and he said that he knew everything about him. He told many things about Bipin Babu, as he told that you had told me about your family and you had said that you had no children and you had lost your wife 10 years ago. He also told Bipin Babu that Bipin Babu had told him that his only brother had died because of madness, because of insane, and that's why he did not want to visit the mental hospital in Ranchi. Means he told many things about Bipin Babu's, and there he also told that in Ranchi he stayed with Mr. Dinesh Mukherjee. He told Bipin Babu that Bipin Babu always carried a bag with his books in it. And hearing this, Bipin Babu got confused and he left the shop. As he was roaming, at that time he was thinking that who was the man, who was the stranger who knew everything about him. He was also sure that he had a good memory, he had an excellent memory, and he did not forget anything, and he had remembered that he had never gone to Ranchi. But it was a very confusion for him that the man knew everything about him, and he was only forgetting his trip to Ranchi. He remembered that in 1958 he was in Kanpur at his friend's Haridas Bagchi's. Now Bipin Babu became very confused and puzzled. He thought of Dinesh Mukherjee, and he also thought to call to Dinesh Mukherjee to confirm whether he was in Ranchi or he was in Ranchi. Next day, when he reached office, he could not concentrate in his work. He was very restless. So he called Dinesh Mukherjee and asked him that he asked Dinesh Mukherjee if he knew his trip about Ranchi, Dinesh Mukherjee said that yes, he was there. He was in Ranchi in 1958, and how could he forget his trip? Then he again tried to remember, but he could not recall. He could not remember the incident. At that time, when he was thinking, his old friend Chunilal, he came to him. He used to come for job. At that time, Bipin Babu thought to ask him about the incident. Chunilal told him that yes, he had gone to Ranchi in 1958 and he got the Ranchi ticket for him and went to the station to see him off. He also told that one of the fans in his compartment was not working and he called an electrician and got it fixed. Then Bipin Babu decided to meet a doctor. The doctor advised him to visit once again to Ranchi so that he might remember something. Bipin Babu visited Ranchi the next day. He visited all the places where the stranger Parimal Ghosh had told, but he could not be able to recollect that he had visited the place before. He reached back and sat. He became disappointed. He was very embarrassed, and now he thought that he would turn mad. At the moment, his servant came and he gave a letter to him. In this letter, it was written that it was a trick played by Chunilal for his unfeeling behavior, for not a good behavior. The letter was written by his friend Chunilal, who wanted to tell him that he should not forget his friend when he was affluent. Then Bipin Babu came to know that it was nothing, it was the trick played by the Bipin Babu. And then he told his doctor that he was fine now, and this is the summary of the chapter. So students, now you have to know that what type of question will be asked in your examination, as you have appeared in periodic test first half yearly examination. So in this examinations also there will be the objective type questions, multiple choice questions. There will be one question and 4 options, and you have to answer the question. You have to tick on the correct option. Suppose the question, such kind of question: who was the friend of Bipin Babu? 4 options are here: Parimal Ghosh, Dinesh Mukherjee, Paresh Chanda and Chunilal. So the D option is correct. Chunilal was the friend of Bipin Babu. So you will tick on D option. So students, you have to read all the chapters, all the lines thoroughly. You have to revise thoroughly so that you will be able to get good marks. Okay? Students, now see the poem, The Last Bargain, and just see the brief summary of this poem. Students, in this poem, the poet wants to be hired without losing his freedom. He tells us that he received offers from the powerful, from the rich and the beautiful, but he turned down all them. He turned them all down. At last he met an innocent child and he immediately accepts his offer. First of all, the king, he came and he said that he would hire him with his power, but the poet found that the power of no use for him. Then an old man came and he said that he would hire him with the bag of gold, but the poet rejected that gold, that money, because money will be spent and it cannot buy us everlasting happiness. Then a beautiful lady, a beautiful maid, she said that she would hire him with her smile, but her smile also faded away and it turned into tears. That's why the poet rejected the agreement, the offer. At last, there was an innocent child, and he said that he would hire him with nothing. And the poet immediately accepted his offer, because the bargain of a child made him a free man, because playing with the child he was still a free man. Okay, students, now see the chapter 5, the summit within. Students, the author Major H.P.S. Ahluwalia. He was a member of the first successful Indian expedition to Mount Everest, and in this chapter he has expressed his feeling when he was standing on the height of the summit of the world, when he was standing on the peak of Mount Everest. Students, in this chapter the writer has told us that mountains are always a challenge for a young man. The high summit, the high peaks always frighten the weak, but it provoke the brave. Major H.P.S. Ahluwalia, he was an Everester, and when he reached the summit, when he was standing on the summit of the Everest, he felt, his first feeling was of humility. He thanked God for his successful attempt, but at that time he felt nervous, he felt sad that there would be nothing higher to climb than that mountain. While getting down from the summit in 1965, he questioned himself why he chose to climb Everest and why people like to climb mountains. It was not an easy question. The simplest answer may be that the summit is there, the peak is there, but climbing the mountain is a test of man's stamina and strong willpower. When he tells that a climb to a summit means endurance, persistence and willpower, means tolerance and obstinacy and then willpower. And the demonstration of these physical qualities is very exciting. No doubt, it is very exciting. The demonstration, the display of endurance, persistence and willpower, the display of tolerance, obstinacy and willpower is very exciting, according to Major H.P.S. Ahluwalia. He also told that mountains have been a great attraction for him since his childhood, and he told us that mountains are the best creations of God and they are very beautiful and majestic. They help us coming with God. As for Everest, it is the highest and the mightiest summit. Whenever anybody is climbing, then he has to struggle hard with rock and ice. And the biggest problem is that one cannot leave, one cannot give up the climbing halfway if he feels danger ahead. The climb down is as risky as going up. And when summit is conquered, when anybody climbs on the summit, then the feeling of victory, the feeling of joy, the feeling of happiness is boundless, limitless. When you are climbing at the peak of the mountain, the breathing is very difficult. You curse yourself for accepting the challenge. But when your companions are with you, they keeps us with you. Both of you, means you and your companion, inspire each other. It seems that there is no end of that struggle, but soon when you are at the top, and from there you see the vast valley, then it was a very exciting experience. You remember God. When the writer reached at the peak of the Everest, he left a picture of Guru Nanak there. His companion Rawat, he left a picture of Goddess Durga. Food Dorzi, he left a relic of Buddha. Edmund Hillary had buried a cross under the heap of rocks. And these are not symbols of conquest. The writer is saying that these are not the symbol of conquest, but these are the symbol of reverence, respect. The writer gives us a message that Everest summit is very high and difficult. But there is another summit which is within us. It is within our mind, it is within our heart. We shall have to climb it to get a fuller knowledge of ourselves. The effect of both the climbing are the same. One is physical, climbing the mountain is physical, but climbing the inner summit is emotional and spiritual. Climbing, overcoming over the inner summit, which is the summit which is inside us, is emotional and spiritual, and they teach us about the world and about ourselves. As an Everester, the writer inspires us that we should face our obstacles, our hindrance of life with determination. And he also teaches us that the conquest of the internal summit is equally worthwhile. The internal summits are perhaps higher than Everest. He says that the conquest of the self is more difficult than conquering the Everest. Climbing over ourselves is more difficult. Climbing over ourselves means to control our passions, to be a fuller knowledge, to get the full knowledge. It is more difficult than climbing the Mount Everest. And whenever we are starting our journey, we should face the painful experience of life, the obstacles of life resolutely. Means we should face the obstacles with determination and strong will power. Okay, so students, again the same pattern of the question will be followed in all the chapters. Let's see, when did the expedition to Mount Everest of HPS Ahluwalia become successful? Suppose this is the question, so there will be 4 options and you will pick the correct one in 1965. So whenever you will start reading all the lines, then you will be able to get good marks. You will be able to get the answers, because the questions will not be from your exercise, it will be given from inside the book. So you have to read and revise all the chapters, all the lines very carefully and thoroughly. Okay, students, now see the last poem, The Schoolboy. This poem is composed by William Blake, and in this poem the schoolboy is unhappy, he is not happy. So just see the brief summary of this poem. The schoolboy, he likes to rise in the summer morning when the birds start singing and the hunters start blowing his horn and the skylark bird start singing. At that time he likes to rise, but when he goes to school, means going to school, it drives all his joy or his happiness away, because he does not like to stay under the strict supervision of the teachers, and he gets fed up with the shower of dull words of the teacher. He has no delight, he has no joy in his book, and he does not like to go to school. He likes the company of the birds singing, the hunters blowing his horns, and the skylark birds singing. At that time he likes to rise in the summer morning. He questions that how can the bird be happy that is born for joy, and when it is kept in a cage. At last the poet advises the parents that they should not deprive the joy of the child for the sake of studies. Depriving them of joy and freedom is similar to deprive the world of its spring. So he gives us the message that the parents should not deprive the childhood of their children. They should not deprive the joy, the happiness of the childhood. Without a happy childhood, we shall only have a winter of sorrow. So he has advised, he has taught through this poem to the parents. Students, now the revision of reader book is completed. Once again I am advising you to read, to revise all the lines of the chapters very thoroughly and carefully, and revise all the portions, chapter 4 and 5, poem 4 and 5 thoroughly. And that's all for today. From next day we will revise the supplementary reader, and that's all for today, and best of luck for your examination also. Thank you.